used to calling and being like, "Can you wake up Alex, Alana?" I thought you picked up your phone because you were asleep.
Yeah, that does happen.
It happens. Anyways, 3, 2, 1. Let's record a podcast. Hi, everybody. My name is Jake.
And I am Alex.
This
Jonah.
is. Who are you?
I'm Jonah. I'm back.
He's back. Bro. How many episodes have you been off?
At this point, it's probably
Like 10?
over 10. Yeah.
Many. This is Uncut Games, the Replay Cafe Talkcore podcast. We're here with our guest, Curtis. Curtis is the owner of Vault of Midnight. I'm sure there's actually a million other things that he is also. I'm going to let him do a little intro. Tell us about yourself.
No, my job is me. That's basically it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I work at a comic book store and have for 25 years. I play a lot of video games too when I'm not working and opening new stores. But yeah, that's me. Comic books all day, all the time.
So we definitely want to talk to you no matter what. But the big news for us is that you're our new neighbor. How is it going with the construction? I mean, I want to get a full origin story, but I think that's the most, biggest thing in my mind is the fact that you're 10 feet down the road now.
Yeah, I just cut right through the alley to get over here today. It was pretty sweet.
Oh, did you open that fence?
It was open, so it's been locked up, and it was, serendipity. It was just open. I was like, here I go.
If you like that, we can leave that fence open. I don't know who locks it. It's not us.
I think eventually the what they're planning on is that's a big pedestrian alley, so they're gonna take those down and pave it all. And
Really?
What I was going to ask you, how much do you know about the parking lot that's being built and
We want details.
how it will function for the whole neighborhood and not just your side of the block?
Yeah, it is pretty exclusive to those two buildings.
Okay.
Yep. So right now it's going to be retail on the whole first floor where we are. Not just retail, but art galleries. There's a little like empanada spot going in on the alleyway right next to us. There's an art gallery that's opening in a month or so.
Is that the Grand House or whatever it is, or is that something different?
Grand House is one block down.
That's right there, yeah.
It's on the building with the Shady Records mural.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which same muralist who did our wall, Syntax, a.k.a. Brian Glass, did. He's going to redo that mural too, coming up, which is sweet. Grand House is done, you guys. I just walked by it. It's like fully open.
Oh, wait, it's
ready to
open?
rock. Yeah, so it's an event space now with a liquor license. But like it's online, and he's the guy who runs. It's already, I was talking to him on the street, and he's already booked a bunch of stuff, parties and musicians, DJs.
He is sharing. It's in the building that also is just like beat to hell with broken glass. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, nothing. And I asked him about it. I was like, what's up with this? And it's like totally a different owner. Who knows?
Yeah.
We had no plans.
Not to do building gossip, but I've heard from our friend Jeff upstairs is that it is being sat upon. Basically speculation that the neighborhood is going to improve and then it will be sold. So
yeah, there's a lot of sitting on.
Yes.
As we all know, in the city of Detroit.
Right.
Makes sense, man. You've been breaking ass, for years and years. Like, get your money.
That's the long play.
So,
We're in the wrong business, honestly.
yeah. But
No,
to go
you
back
guys
to
start to have a business. But yeah.
the parking lot, I think there's residential upstairs, both those buildings. So it's all like free parking or whatever for customers and all that. It's not like, but yeah, it will be, I think, exclusive to those.
Understood.
Yeah.
You guys, so I was walking by and I didn't realize this at first. Your entrance is not actually, it doesn't lead right into the space. You guys actually share that thing with a couple other businesses, right? That's what you're talking about, the empanadas and all that?
Yep.
Cool.
So, so far there's like a design studio, art gallery, by popular demand, which is right here.
Yes.
They're trucking into that building here in a couple months.
Okay. Do you have timetables?
This I don't know. I think timetables. Like for me, this whole build has been tomorrow is the answer to every question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when's the electrical happening tomorrow?
Awesome.
When's the windows going in tomorrow? So when are they moving in tomorrow? And then tomorrow it'll be tomorrow, and then we'll get there.
So have you been sleeping at all?
No, not at all.
No.
We've been 18 hours a day since like January.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So
and 7 days a week, man. It's pretty wild. I thought I was I'm not even shitting you. Like, I don't know what a nervous breakdown is, but there was a moment when I got a call in my car driving to Grand Rapids yesterday where they said we passed our electrical. And I don't know. It's the closest I've had come to maybe a fainting or having a panic attack.
Wait.
I don't know. It was good news, but
They have a real business. Jake is like, what do you mean, Pastor Electrical? You guys have a business that has to follow slightly different guidelines than our underground gaming lounge does.
And that building's so old that like the city is just like every inspector is just up in there. It's been vacant for 50 years.
Really?
So
Okay.
like, the fire dude is like every nook and cranny. The electric guys open every box, every wire, so it's
How did we skip that?
If you're a building inspector listening to our podcast, we also went through that.
Also,
You definitely did. I can tell. I can see you're up to code.
to answer your question, Jonah, like this, like he said, that building has been vacant for 50 years. This building was renovated probably like 5 to 10 years ago.
I mean, the building is also licensed. Where we have all the licenses that we need on the building. Individual spaces, we definitely have that too. But
Yeah, for sure.
what drove the move to like over here in this neighborhood? Like, what did you see here that you liked?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a long story. So we've got a couple locations, right? We got one in Ann Arbor, one in Grand Rapids. They're both in really, really old buildings. And that's really important to us because that informs the design of the store and the character of how we do the whole thing, like the shelving, the lighting, all of it, right? And we had a very difficult time finding a location initially in Detroit. So we wanted to open originally in 2013. It took us to almost 2016 to find a spot. It was just fucking brutal. Can I swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fuck.
I wrote it down like 5 times. Yeah, it was brutal. We couldn't find a spot. We just shouldn't shut down. We ended up working with Bedrock, which is fine. You know, they got muscle, so they just made everything happen. But like that process took forever, and the building we got just wasn't what we wanted. It just was like a white box, you know, 4 walls. You know, it didn't have a lot of that kind of character that we always looked for. We just couldn't find that spot. And then our lease was up. It was time to renegotiate, and we were like, well, this is our opportunity to try to find something that really speaks to our character as a store. And we just started, you know, spent a year driving around. And, you know, we looked at 50 spots. You know, and then we just kept coming back to this spot. We knew it's a little farther out, but the building it just had the bones that both of us, Steve, who's my business partner since day one, also my best buddy since kindergarten. And like, so we've been homies for like 45 years. You know, we both were immediately like, fuck, this might be the spot. You know, we had to go look around at other spots and come back, but dude, it's brick. It's 100 years old. It's an Albert Kahn building. I mean, it's got like steel girders. I mean, it's exactly the spot.
It's got character to it.
Exactly. Bones that just matter. And, you know, and other stuff like big ass parking lot, and we can throw events, and we've always wanted a mural on the side of our building. You know,
The Spawn that just came up.
Spawn just went up.
Just so cool.
Yeah, dude. That's why the store was founded, right? So I was working in restaurants. Steve was an accountant, you know, and when Spawn came out in 93, my uncle sent me a copy, and it just sent me spiraling. I quit my job, moved back home. Me and Steve partnered up and opened up a comic shop.
Yeah, wait.
You know?
Can we slow down a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I'm good saying too much stuff. We love that building, and that's why we moved over here, dude. All the reasons. It's 3 times as big. The parking lot, parking on the streets. We can do events. We found out you guys were here. We found Tangent. There's other cool shit in the neighborhood. So, yeah. North End is just totally badass. It's like downtown, but has a neighborhood also. So, yeah.
That's a big part of it for us, too, just knowing that there's people across the street. Like, this side is all warehouses. And it's just going to be that forever. And then the other side is like all people, and together those come together.
Those warehouses might become stuff, though. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think now they are. Once you guys move in, like I think you guys are actually like a big like beacon signal for like businesses that have to worry about passing the electrical. Where they're like, all right, we can pass electrical there too.
We were always the pariah. That's hilarious to me.
What do you
we
mean?
would somehow, as a comic book store, right? When comic book stores go, they're in a strip mall. They're in the corner. Their lights don't work. They got dead bugs in the window. Like nobody's trying to rent to a comic store. Like we dealt with that the whole time. We try to go to landlords and be like, "Hey, you want to rent to us?" And they're like, "Absolutely not. Fuck no. You're a comic book store. We don't want a dirty, dingy."
Really?
You know, because that's kind of the stigma, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Comic shop guy, right? People think that. You know, if somehow like us opening up would be like attract business, dude, it's a new day. That's like some magical.
I've never thought about the stigma you have to deal with, where like the TV version of you is the Simpsons comic book guy. If there was like
Sheldon, you know, on Big Bang or something like that, you know. So
that's who they think is coming to them. Oh my gosh!
But you guys are gamers, right? Too. I'm sure it's changed now. Everybody's about video games, but like, dude, for a long time, man, like video games, like you were just like a straight up. You know, that wasn't cool. You couldn't just openly be like, yeah, I play Contra.
Boys and girls come in here on dates, both wearing like their Naruto t-shirts, and I get my underpants over my head in the 3rd grade if I even mentioned that that's what I was doing with my free time.
Yeah, like, you break out your comic books in elementary school, you would literally get your ass beat.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, don't talk about Dungeons and Dragons in public. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a different world. That is incredible to me. Like,
yes.
and I'm about it. Like, some people are like, oh, now everybody's a nerd, and like, how dare you? It's, be everybody, get into some
yes.
shit, get into comics, get into games,
So we can have something to talk to people about at family gatherings.
Yeah, exactly.
We can have something in common.
So to steal back into your origin story, you got a comic book sent to you by your uncle, and that was enough for you to quit your job and go,
All right, I got to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I read comics ever since I was like 6 years old. That's how I learned to read. My different uncle, gave me his collection, a big old stack of Savage Sword of Conan.
So you got a whole nerd family.
Not really, just a few random nerds that
everyone has
were really
an uncle.
integral. Yeah, so this guy's my uncle Ed. He was not my uncle. He was like a dude that was close to the family that we called uncle.
And that's what I mean.
And then my other uncle was actually my mom's brother, real uncle. Anyway, I read comics like a fiend my whole life, and then I, was like, did everything like you do. You get 17, you're like, I need a car, I need to get a girlfriend, I can't be a little baby anymore. I got to give away my comics and be cool and grow up.
Did you sell them off?
I did, yeah.
Oh shit!
And got no money for them. And
I bet that's every time I looked at selling my stuff, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and I sold good shit too. I sold a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 first print. That comics, it's $25,000 right now. I sold it for like $16, or I don't even know. The whole collection was like I got $200 for like all my comics.
Oh shit!
So, but I bought a VW Bug with it, so at the time it was pretty tight. And
you were trading up to other
chicks
things.
Dug it.
Yeah.
I definitely, took some ladies for rides in that, so it worked out. But then I got out of it, right, and then I got married real young. Not married, but we were basically married, and I had a kid real young, so it was just like fun was gone. We had my first kid when I was 18, so.
I was going to say, how young? That is young.
What's that?
I was going to ask you how young you meant, and that's as young as you can get.
Me and my wife met in high school the year we graduated. Well, she graduated. I went back to night school. I was a bad kid, so I had to go back to night school.
Shit, that's cool.
But when we got married, we're still together. My wife, we're still rocking it. But and then all of a sudden, like I was working hard, and then it was like this comic showed up on my doorstep, and it was like, oh yeah, I love this shit. Like, why did I quit doing this? I don't have to be an adult, or I can do both.
So you and Steve, at this through growing up, were also like all into comic books, like together, or like
no, we were.
When did?
Yeah, we were homies in a different way. I knew his cousin really well, so me and his cousin just partied. We didn't do comics. Yeah, I did comics. We just partied time. But Steve was always around. And,
your best buddy since kindergarten.
And then, so we hung.
That's how those work.
But then we became roommates when we were like 16, 17, and then we were inseparable from that moment on. So, and he was just by osmosis, like, because basically in my house it looked like a comic shop. Comics on every wall, boxes everywhere, toys everywhere.
This is after Spawn.
After Spawn. Yeah, 1994-ish, 93-ish.
So you went back into it hard, like you said.
Just
this is it.
The next day, dude, I got that comic. I was in a comic shop in Florida because I was working in Florida at the time, just like flipping through long boxes. Like,
I was going to ask, what is your city of origin?
Well, I mean, I'm from Michigan, but I'm all over. Like, I was born in Battle Creek. I lived in Inkster. I lived in Westland, Ypsilanti. Ann Arbor for a little bit.
Gotcha. Everywhere I've lived in the past 5 years, basically, there's been a Vault of Midnight. When I went to Grand Rapids, there's a Vault of Midnight. And then I spent a summer in Ann Arbor, and I was like, oh, there's a Vault of Midnight. And then I came back from college, I'm like, there's a Vault of Midnight. So it's like followed me around the states. I didn't know which one you might have started in.
Yeah, the first Vault's in Ann Arbor.
Okay, that's the one.
Yep.
Is that the first comic shop you opened?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vault of Midnight was the name out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer. Originally that's not true. Originally it was called Captain Midnight's Comic Books and Stuff Like That was the whole title. But I got vetoed. Everybody hated it. I still think it fucking rules.
No, I want you to hear that is good. Someone should tell you. That was cool.
Thank you. I always have known in my heart that I was right. But
the sign's just a little bit too expensive with all the letters.
The thing. You take that to the sign shop and they're like, that will cost you $20,000.
They're like, yeah. Are you sure you want that? And
3 lines of shit. Yeah.
Realizing it's $10,000 to add and stuff onto it or something. Like I could lose it, I guess.
Yeah. We had just since we're riffing, we had a sign guy once who got really pissed off at us because our very first sign, he wanted us to have collectibles in the sign.
Why did he want that?
We don't know. We still to this day, can't figure it out. But we gave him a design for the sign that we drew, you know, a little half-assed, and we figured he's a graphic designer, he'll hook it up, you know, and make it look better, whatever. And he brought it back to us. I am not shitting you. Our sign, the way it is now, is kind of how it's always been, just Vault to Midnight comic books and stuff, right? He brought it back. I am not making this up, in dripping blood. Right? So it's Vaults of Midnight in dripping blood. Comics and collectibles in dripping blood. It gets better. There's a wolf howling at the fucking moon, like one of those shitty, ironically shitty T-shirts with the wolf in front of a moon. Yeah, man. And then we were like, "What is happening?" We got into it, and the dude just screamed. He like basically screamed at us, like, "How is anybody gonna know what you fucking sell if it doesn't say collectibles on your sign?" You know, so we had to like fire the sign guy, the very first sign guy, and we're like 22 years old, like getting screamed at by a sign guy.
Were you passing the phone around to be like, no, you fire him and stuff?
No, we were in person. This was happening in person.
To be clear, you didn't design a dripping blood sign, I'm guessing. It just was a very basic font.
No, it's just like basically what we have now, like Futura, you know, just your regular ass Vault of Midnight, all caps.
With a wolf.
Dude, we had a designer though, because like years later I was like, actually, that's kind of sick in it, like in a t-shirt way.
Yes.
So we had it redesigned. We haven't unleashed it yet. We're sitting on it. Like I got the design. We haven't like put it out yet. We're trying to find like the right time because it's like dumb. Yeah, in like a good way, I think.
Please.
Yeah.
I had a question about, so when you're establishing like a comic book store, because we got Dave who does like collects like $1,000 arcade machines. What does
It's his birthday, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday, Dave!
It's on the pod. It's on the pod.
How do you like get all of those comic books collected, and like, are you buying in like large stock? Like, how are you like getting like, you know, crown pieces? Obviously, you want something that like brings people in. That's like, you know, first edition of a something of a very like popular. Like, what goes into that? How do you establish that?
I guess, yeah. How did you,
without spilling all your secrets,
acquire the inventory when you're just like, you got an accountant and you got yourself who you were cooking, right? Your chef?
Yep. I mean, line cook. Yeah. So I worked at
restaurants,
a few nice restaurants. You know, I apprenticed under a few chefs. But yeah, a lot of Bennigan's, a lot of Ruby Tuesdays. The nicest restaurant I ever worked at was the Earl, which was that's where I learned how to actually cook. It's like fine French cooking. So almost, you know, and I still cook. I'm obsessed with cooking. So someday when I retire, my joke is that I will open my own restaurant when I am 70 and retire from comic books. That's my other dream.
Give yourself
if you want to open one in the next year and a half, also let us know.
Right on. I love cooking, man. I love food. I mean, I specifically love a really busy commercial kitchen. It's like one of my favorite environments, which I know is bizarre, but
I agree.
No, all those people love it. That's why they're doing it. I know some people are like, no, I feel like people get off on it. Not in like a weird way, just like you get the energy and you're zipping.
Yeah. No, and you're just turning out. And I'm like really obsessed with quality and good looking food and everything. So it's being super busy and cranking out like the good stuff. So
doing the speed run for perfection.
Yeah. So I to get back to your question, I sold my whole collection.
Okay.
So everything that I've been collecting my whole life that I still had, going back to my mom's house, whatever, that was basically our starting inventory for the very first store.
You just pulled from what you had.
Everything, you know. And we had no money. Nobody would give us a loan because we were just too tiny. And they didn't do micro loans back then. They barely do them now.
They don't do them now.
Yeah, so we went to a bank and we were like, oh, we need like $20,000. And they were like, we won't even talk to you for less than $250,000.
So what?
You know?
Maybe we told you this already. I don't know. But we got $20,000 as a credit card.
That's how you got to do it.
That's just what we got. We got a business credit card. And they're like, here's $20,000. Don't screw it up.
Yep. No, that's new. That's like some new shit.
Really?
Like, in the last, probably 10 years or something. Okay. But like, that just didn't exist. They just, to a bank, that's like crumbs.
Right. It's not worth their time to follow the paperwork.
Yeah. So yeah, we borrowed literally, we had a friend who loaned us a credit card. We had a family friend who was like, here's $2,000.
Yeah, yeah, the most you could imagine. Wow, thank you so much.
This is back when we could pay for shit in checks.
Yeah.
And checks took about 2 weeks to clear. And the amount of times we rode that out was every week for the first 2 years. No shit. Like if somebody cashed a check early, we might be fucked. Like the whole thing might cave in on itself.
This is a great conversation because I feel like you're coming to me with like an eye patch and a staff being like, really, you will suffer and it's normal and like makes me feel better. And one day I'm going to have an eye patch too. Like we're going to get through this, guys. It's going to be okay.
It's all difficult, man. It's all about passion and love. Like, I mean, I'm serious. It sounds super fucking corny, but just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Oh, no. If we stop, we'll be crushed.
Just do it. And then, at a certain point, maybe evaluate, like, am I having a good time? Is this healthy for me? How much I'm putting into all this shit?
Is this healthy for me?
Am I enjoying my life?
Yeah.
But
I'm healthy over there.
Yeah.
I had vegetables for breakfast. I'm getting better.
There you go. Yeah.
I've made some moves recently along those lines.
Men's health. It's real. Do it.
Yes.
Take care of yourself.
I wanted to. So you got $2,000. You're writing out are you saying like bouncing checks and shit? Like
never actually bounced a check.
Okay.
Yeah. We would always, we would get new products. We would sell enough by the time they would cash that check, and then we'd write the next. So we were kind of riding it out.
Yes.
Because there would be this gap, and I don't remember exactly. This is a long time ago, so but it's like we had like 7 or 10 days before that check would clear.
Mm-hmm.
So every week we got our new shipment of comics from the distributor. We'd write him a check. UPS guy at that time, that's when we would give the check to the UPS guy. He would then somehow magically make it back to the distributor.
Take a little bit of time.
When did he find the time? That can't even get my package to me. I can't imagine he has to do a check run too.
Yeah, that was part of the system back then.
That's fucked up.
So yeah,
a lot of trust too.
Yeah,
he was like that was our micro loan. Like every 7 to 10 days, we'd get a $700 to $1,500 little baby micro loan for a minute. Yeah,
I'm very excited to ask because I lived, like I said, in Ann Arbor for one whole summer.
Nice.
And that time I didn't pay rent because of a problem, but I spent all my money still on food. It was so expensive to be there. How in the world did you get an Ann Arbor location on this small setup?
We were on a side street.
Okay.
And our rent was, I'm not shitting you, $400 a month. And we had...
Wait, was this an apartment or was it...
It was a house that had been converted into retail that had sat vacant for who knows how long, And we had a landlord who was just like, yeah, who gives a shit? The rent's like so cheap. Like if you don't pay, then see you later. And we were really off the beaten path. It's like Main Street, Ann Arbor, sounds sweet. And we were a block over, like behind a parking lot, in a row of houses. And we were like this one weird, the house was like mauve or like purple.
Wait.
It was super bizarre.
It wasn't in Carytown, was it?
No, it was, where Fleetwood Diner is in Ann Arbor, Michigan? It was like 2 doors down from the Fleetwood Diner.
Gotcha.
Oh, really?
I lived in a mauve house.
Right on.
In Carytown, so it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the landlord had nothing to lose, and we had this tiny little spot. It was like 500 or 600 square feet. It was.
How did you get people to come? Because there's no internet. You have to tell people.
No internet. We didn't realize too that the industry had just collapsed.
Oh,
that was in the collapse of the comic industry. So pre-internet, so we had no idea what was going on.
No one told you
industry-wise.
There was no industry. Oh my god.
We're like, oh man, comics are booming in '93. They are in '96. They're dead. We go from like 11,000 comic shops to like 3,000 comic shops in the span of like 18 months. Like it's
what did
apocalyptic.
Happen? What did you when you called up? What had happened in the industry?
It was just this speculator boom.
For real,
folks buying way too much stuff, unsustainable numbers, overprinting by publishers, and then this the bubble burst. Your classic pick a bubble.
Yeah,
and it happened to comics in just a major way.
I had no concept.
Yeah, it just exploded. We didn't either. Yeah. It was.
So how did you get people to show up then, especially with this bubble bursting and you open up like you're in a house?
We just kept grinding it out. So back then our name's Vault of Midnight. So we had the idea like, let's be open till midnight. That'll be cool. So we stayed open till midnight. Mm-hmm. Steve and I worked a billion hours, and we just did obnoxious stuff. We would like have people dressed up like Spawn. Just roam the streets and hang out flyers.
Yeah.
And, we would stick flyers on the parking lot. People would park. We just like flyer the parking lot. And we were like a little edgy at the time. We couldn't sell Marvel comics because, man, this is
wouldn't give it to me.
Serious inside baseball, you guys. I don't know how boring you want me to get with this shit, but
please tell us more.
Like Marvel was self-distributing at the time. So you had to go directly to Marvel. They had their own distribution company called Heroes World that they created, and you could only get their shit through there. And you had to order everything or nothing. And we had this tiny little shop that we couldn't sustain that. There's no way we could do it. And I'm not even kidding you. The Marvel rep just laughed at us on the phone and hung up. We're like, we just can't do it. And he's like, something to the effect of like, good luck, click. Have fun trying to have a comic shop without Marvel Comics, asshole. So we leaned into it. We were really pissed. Steve and I, we were both just like, all right, fuck you guys. And we went full independent for like the first, probably 5 years. We only sold like Image and Chaos Comics.
Image Comics.
Just all that stuff. And nobody else really did it. And we had a big in with McFarlane Toys. The reason we got to stay alive, this is the real reason, is McFarlane Toys was based out of like Plymouth, Michigan at the time.
Really? Shit.
Yeah, and they were really having trouble getting to big box still. Because
They also did Spawn, right?
they did Spawn.
Yep.
Yeah, and so their toys were all demonic and crazy and monstrous and shit. So like big box was kind of like still had their nose up at McFarlane.
Yeah.
So we were like a direct supplier had a direct account with McFarlane. They would deliver semi trucks of McFarlane toys right to our door. Todd's dad used to
Blown
come
away.
over. Bob McFarlane used to come
Whoa.
over, and he would show off like the prototypes. We do these events with like the prototype toys and shit.
What?
It was rad, and that was really
insane.
the thing. People would come in for that, and then we just laid it on thick, man. We got a lot of. I think we do have a lot of personality. We love our shit. We love comics. People come in. We'd establish relationships, and it was a super grind. We didn't make a dime because we just kept reinvesting because we started with nothing. We had to keep just reinvesting.
You have a kid and a wife. How are you living?
I had a kid and a wife, and then I had a 3-year-old when we opened, and my wife was 9 months pregnant when we opened our doors. So we had our second one like about a month after we opened. So,
Oh my god.
yeah, it was wild.
Enough to pay the bills and enough to keep the
Just
business
barely.
afloat,
Me and Steve and Liz and my 2 kids all lived in the same
I was
little
gonna
house
ask
together.
if you guys were like
for a couple
huddling
years.
up.
Yep, it was super wild.
But look at you
Yeah.
now.
Were you?
Look at me now.
Marv, I mean,
Still
got a
grinding.
mansion.
Nope, I got a real basic ass crib, but I like where I live, so it's good. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious. Jake brought this up. This is pre-internet, and then you're going into the internet phase,
Yep.
and you're seeing a connection to nerd culture, and all these things are kind of starting to boom, and your business has transitioned from flyering cars
Yeah.
to now having all access to everybody everywhere.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that you guys are thinking when this, like, advertising online and like pushing to a bigger demographic? And
It took so long for us to even just know about business at all. So just super sloppy, like we MySpace, and then Facebook, we were so broke that I don't think we paid for marketing. We did some actual like print ads, just like small ones in like the local like little music mags or whatever like this. We did do one where it was just like this kind of dominatrix looking character who had just like shot a bunch of people, and it just had our name, and there's like it's just black, white, and red, and there's these little bodies with blood coming out of them.
If you're talking about printing some new T-shirts, does that ad still exist anywhere?
Man, I can't find it. I wish I could.
Oh my god!
I know.
That sounds cool.
But we didn't put anything on there. What we did, this is how rookie move we are. We forgot to say anything about what we were. So it was just like that image, and then like Vault of Midnight, and our address and our phone number.
And yeah, who showed up?
We got some weird calls, man. Yeah, got some super.
I think we know
super
about
weird
with
calls.
the traffic up here exactly. Where sometimes people are not; they're really coming for the games, and sometimes I'm like, oh, you want upstairs, and
You
they're
want
like,
a different place?
no, but they're
Yeah.
actually just here for the arcade. Dave pulls a lot of people in
did
with
make
that.
a mistake one time assuming that the people coming in here were trying to go upstairs.
Yeah.
It was a little bit weird, but we managed and we hung. I actually had just an offshoot question, not related to the last one. In this period of time, so, it's balls to the wall, you're just trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Is there any like issue that, or like just like series or just like one piece that you sold and you're like, damn, if I could have that back and just like have kept it for myself? Was there anything along those lines? Or like, at this point, it's bygones be bygones. Like, I appreciate that little, piece of paper. It got me to where I am now.
Yeah. I mean, everything comes and goes, which is cool in our business. Like, we'll sell stuff, and it will be like, maybe we'll never see that again. But then it rolls through again, and then it rolls through even again.
There's no Holy Grail that's like popped up in your shop.
I mean, yeah, definitely. We've had a few. We got like a Batman 27 once, or excuse me, and a Detective 27 once came through the door.
Like a 1945,
It's 19. I think it's 37,
that's even.
and it's the first Batman comic ever. And it was in really rough shape. The cover wasn't attached. It was just kind of sitting on top of the comic.
Yeah.
So we helped the person sell it, but it's still sold for tens of thousands of dollars. It's like, the first ever
Jeez,
Batman comic.
yeah.
So we got to touch that and see that in real life. So that's, we just
your
picked
hand
up an
shake.
X-Men #1, which I've never seen in real life with my own hands. I've seen them, but,
and you've been in it for 25 years too.
so it's
Do you still
it's a
have
pretty
those
rare
like,
book
coming to Jesus moments with certain pieces?
all the time.
Okay.
All the time. And the cool thing now is like people kind of shit on modern comics. Not shit, but like people are always going after gold and silver and Bronze Age comics forever and ever, and now stuff that's like 1970 forward is getting its love.
Yeah.
And because there's so much cool shit, like, you know, first Wolverine, there's so many big, like, key books that, like, are 1970 plus, right? And those books just sat around forever. Like, we would buy Hulk 181 all the time, right? For years and years. That's the first Wolverine, right? And those books would go for, you know, they'd be decent. It'd be like $75 to $150. You know, they start to get to $250. Now they're thousands and thousands. You know, they're rapidly becoming out of reach. And we always felt like they were undervalued as like kind of comic book fiends. Were like, this is the first ever Wolverine comic.
How does everyone else not know about this yet?
Yeah, right. It's the movies, it's everything, the cartoons, it's what everybody knows, right? Like, I know the first, you know, pick a Golden Age comic, Shazam or whatever, is cooler and rarer and older, but who's beating down the door for that? There's some collectors for sure.
That's collectors. That's I've never met a Shazam fan.
Yeah, and I'm not blazing on Shazam. I think he's a lot of fun. It's just, you know, Green Arrow's really cool too, but I'm going after that Wolverine, versus, you know, but that first Green Arrow is more money, you know, which is crazy to me or whatever. So
that's literally just a scarcity thing. Like,
yeah. And I think it's just people kind of just for the longest time also just thought like old
is better
or whatever. And for comics where it's like, no, what has cultural impact? What do people give a shit about? What's like, you know, relevant or whatever.
Speaking of this, and I know you got to get out of here in a second, but I want to wrap up this one question. What is coming into the store down the street? You said modern comics get a lot of shit on them. Anything new that you're really loving? Maybe a top 3? What should people, when they bust in the door on, is it going to be like next Friday? When's October 1st?
This Friday, dude. It's 2 days.
This Friday?
2 days.
Thank you for your time. Holy shit.
Yeah.
When 2 days, what should I be looking for on the shelves that you know is better than people give it credit for, or that's undervalued, needs the hype? What should we be looking for?
I mean, there's literally so many books, so we always try to tailor recommendations to like the person. But I mean, for me, like right now, I'm loving a guy called his name is Daniel Warren Johnson. And I mean, he's just come in the store, ask anybody in the store about Daniel Warren Johnson. This guy is a total beast. He's one of those complete packages. He writes it, he draws it, he colors it. It's all him, right? Yeah, he's doing he just wrapped up a Beta Ray Bill book. That's just totally badass. He did a book called Extremity that I just can't say enough good stuff about. Yeah, I'll go on and on. We're going to have a lot of new back issues, too, you guys, that we got just for this spot, you know, that we've been sitting on. Okay. We got some key, you know, we got a first Black Panther that's going to be hitting the wall. We got a first Eternals, which is about to, you know, be a major Marvel motion picture. So get your Eternals 1 right now before that book blows up.
Yeah.
Good call.
Is there anything that this store's doing that the other stores aren't, or is it kind of all following the same?
Mostly it's the same. We got a gallery space in the new spot, so we're going to be selling framed art. We're going to be we got local artists. We got a bunch of our favorite, you know, big name, not local artists. And I local artists is not the right word. We got artists from around this area. You know, local makes them sound like maybe not totally badass. Yeah, we got some really excellent folks on the wall. And then eventually we hope to do little, maybe smaller shows, you know, rehang the gallery with whoever wants to come through and maybe do a show. So, yeah, and we're going to do a lot of outside partying type stuff.
Good.
You know, because we got space for that. So
I think this block is about to get very, very, very exciting.
I hope so, man. Yeah, we're super here for it, man. Like, we're putting everything we got in this one. This is no shit like the pinnacle of everything we've ever done. Like, as far as like design of the shelves, the layout of the store, the inventory that we're putting in there. I mean, we're trying to be the best modern comic book store because we're about that too. Like, we're all about collectible stuff. And I'm a huge collector. I got 1 million short boxes of organized ancient comics. But we're also just trying to get people in to like hit that rack on Wednesday. There's new dope shit coming out every single week, every Wednesday. Swear to God, like every week. You know, like there's a book. If you like reading and you like art, like I can give you a sweet recommendation every single week.
It's awesome.
The variety is just, it's, what do you like? And people think superheroes, we got that, but then we have comics are just every medium.
See, that's why I'm going to be biased because I'm not a superhero person and I need my spot where I can get everything else.
Pick a genre. We got, there's a sweet comic book or 10 sweet comic books, right? Yeah. Western, sci-fi, pick something, right?
Plus, you guys got the games, right? You got the board games and all that.
Got shitload of board games. The manga section is just banging, so come get your manga too. We've expanded apparel, so T-shirts.
All right.
We're gonna be doing shoe drops. We got
wait.
We got just more. More coming. Follow us on social media. Vault of Midnight.
Was that a joke? You're doing shoe drops?
That's not a joke. Yeah.
What?
So more to come. I can't say anything
know
right
More
now.
details. All right, go out on a
More to
cliffhanger.
come, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
More coming soon. All right. Yeah.
Curtis, thank you so much.
Right on.
I know how busy you are. This is fantastic.
No, that's great. And if you ever want to chop it up some more, just let me know.
We will definitely bring you back.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about really gaming or anything.
Yeah,
at all,
I'm willing to
so
call
that's
this part 1. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. I didn't answer the question about how we buy old comics too, so we can get back to that. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll get back.
More time later on when you
Next time we'll get you a mic that works.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
This episode is not brought to you by SpaghettiOs. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.